All right, YouTube says, let me grab this. YouTube says we're live. I try to be I try to be optimistic at times. Most of the time, I try to be optimistic. I try to be positive. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, that sort of stuff. I try to provide I hope some of the videos, some of the content is like valuable and informational and people sort of walk away from it, maybe just a little inspired to try something different, those such things. That's not gonna be this video. That is not gonna be this video. So diesel price is up there, right? I think what I was saying the other day, 324 gallons, what the average was. So it's creeping up there. I've said for a long time, right? There are sort of two types of people that I really hate. And that's liars and thieves. And that's really, I mean, those are two like really easy cornerstone things to hate, right? And then people say, "Oh, you shouldn't hate." Well, it's okay. I've got to have some level, a couple of sins. I'll start with that one. I'll hate liars and thieves. Here's what I think. A lot of times, people, not just drivers, but people in general, I think a lot of times we fail to understand the ripple effect. Right? The ripple effect. What do you mean the ripple effect? Well, one action causes a whole host of other reactions. Usually, those ripple effects are usually worse than the initial action. So, if this video ever finds its way into the eyes, I'll be really polite, of the person who decided to steal all the reefer fuel and almost every bit of the tractor fuel out of the truck that our driver was sleeping in. I hope that you just understand this. There are individuals that are trying really hard to bust their ass to make a living. And those individuals were asleep right inside of that tractor. And thanks a lot for taking every bit of the reefer fuel. I want you to understand that a lot of truck drivers don't have debit cards. A lot of truck drivers don't have credit cards. And I'm so thankful that the person that you decided to steal from, the driver in that truck just happened to be in that situation. He happened to be an individual that had, that is responsible for his finances and had the ability to get to a small little mom and pop because he was on a stretch of road where there was not a truck stop for 100 miles. Where was he? He was Lyle, Washington, rest area off the Exec 72 eastbound. Just happened to find a mom and pop truck stop, and there was just enough diesel to get a few miles down the road to get there. And no, they don't take EFS or comp checks or any of that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of people fail to understand that had he not had that situation, had this driver not had his own credit card to be able to pay for some fuel at this middle of nowhere little mom and pop, truck stop, or not truck stop, but gas station. One, we would have had to send a roadside call out there. That would have cost us a lot of money. But you don't care about that clearly. In fact, you don't care about much at all. But bigger than just costing a company a lot of money, what would have happened to that driver is he was going to be late. He would have been late for that delivery, which means he would have also been late for his, we'd have had to cancel his next load. So not only were you stealing from a company, but you were potentially stealing from the individual money out of his pocket for he and his family. Now, a lot of people would think, like if you're gonna go and steal diesel or things from individuals while they're sleeping on the side of the road, or in this case, a rest area, a lot of people would think things like, they hope that you crash in some really desolate place and that the diesel that you stole catches the truck on fire and you die a miserably slow, painful death. Not me. I would not think that. I hope it happens, but I wouldn't think that. I just would hope that happens. To go and to steal something and to leave somebody, look, it's not like you just stole, a few gallons here and there just to kind of get you to the next truck stop. It's not like you ask people to borrow money. Here's a situation, this was like a year ago. I went to Chick-fil-A. 1 million cars in line. I wait in line. I order my sandwich. I forgot my wallet. Wallet was back at home. So embarrassed because I stood in line and now I'm holding up the line. I look at the lady and I was like, I'm so sorry, I don't have my wallet. To which she says, it's okay, here you go, just come back sometime and pay us back. Great, awesome, thank you. You weren't knocking, you didn't ask people for help. You didn't want their help, you didn't want to pay them back, you just wanted to freaking be a thief. Literally, one of the lowest piece of crap, scum of the earth types of people are people like you that steal from those that are working really hard, trying to make a living, and you want to go and steal from them. Anyways, I just think it. Benjamin Duke, is really any material thing worth someone's life? Only this material, only this person. Because I don't think it's just, I can't, man, I think the world would be a lot better place without them. That's my take. It's my channel, I'm entitled to my opinion. That's just my opinion. Here's the thing, this is probably not the first time, it's probably not the last time they're gonna do it. I just think the world would be a better place without people like that. I do sort of tend to believe in karma. I think when you try really hard to do good things for people, irrelevant of their social status, man. And we've all sort of read those articles or seen those kind of circumstances. I'll never forget, this is many years ago, some friends of mine had set me up with this lady, and sort of on paper, man, she was all things great. We went to dinner, and man, she treated people really poorly. I want nothing to do with people like that, right? I just don't get why you wouldn't ask people for help. Because you know what I tend to find? I tend to find that if you are really in need of help and you ask people for help, and I also tend to think that, especially drivers as a whole, I think when you ask people for help and you're in a situation, people are willing to help. Even if that means giving you $10 or $20 or something like that, right? I know there are a couple examples where our drivers have helped people out, literally given them their last dollar, and then call and say, hey, can I get a cash advance? There was a person who was in a bad situation and that kind of thing. I think people, by and large, they want to help. I think people want to tell the truth. I think people want to do good things. But then you sort of have those people that they don't want any part of that. Like if you're in a bad situation and you did a really poor job of planning or didn't realize that you're gonna run out of diesel or whatever, pull over, knock on our guy's door. I'll be happy to freaking let you take some diesel to get where you need to be. Just don't steal it, right? I don't get it. I just don't. I don't get it. To the thought that you would potentially harm somebody's and their family's well-being or their finances when they're working hard just because you're not. Oh man. And here's the thing. This is a situation like I was talking to the driver. I was like, this might have been another driver. Who knows? Maybe it could have just been someone who lives low, kind of close by to that area. And they're just like, hey, look at us. This is great. There's, several thousands of free diesel every night. But whoever it was, man, I'm not really hopeful of good things for you. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have had other situations. You guys have probably seen a lot more crazy stuff go on. There are solutions that we can put. We could go and put locking caps, right? But do we really have to? I mean, I've thought about that in the past. Should we really have to go and risk, somehow losing a key and then the driver's being in this bad situation? And I mean, do you really have to lock? Should you really have to? I mean, golly, you hope not. You hope not. Let's see. I'll say hi to a bunch of everybody. Keith, Kevin, Charlie, Brent, Spotify, Josh, Red Dane, so on and so forth. Hey, welcome, everybody. It just came down 5 cents at the terminal on Tuesday. Thieves do suck. I agree, man. Travis Clark, we just had somebody decide that they wanted to steal all the diesel out of our reefer and virtually everything out of the truck as well. Yeah, man, it's you sort of like, there are times when stuff like that happens. You just sort of wish that you happen to be just like walking around the corner when somebody's doing that. I don't know, man. I just think it's pretty sketchy. No, this was in Washington. So obviously we don't know who it is, but Trigger Logic, probably Larry June. I doubt. I don't know who it was, right? I just would hope that, like, if you're ever in that bind, man, just like ask somebody for help. Because I just think most people are willing to help. I don't care. I've told this story a million times. Oh, that's not true. I've told this story a couple times on my channels. When I was married, we were coming back from a Broncos game. We were waiting a long time to turn at this light. We're trying to take kind of this back road home. There's a guy literally feet up, hanging out of it in a dumpster. Comes out with a bucket of KFC, like chicken that people have already eaten, right? And that's what this guy is eating. And so we had waited this whole time. I mean, we waited like 20 minutes in line, this left turn lane. And so we cut across like 4 lanes of traffic. Everybody hated this. Pulled into this guy. And I don't know how much money I had in my money clip. I just know that whatever it was, I gave it to him. And I was like, man, go get some food or whatever. And here's the other thing. I've said this too about that moment, because this still irks me to no end. When I gave that, here's what I did, man. I'll sort of use this as an example. So I handed the money towards the guy, and right as he was reaching at it, I literally, I feel like the worst human being on the, I feel like almost as bad as this guy that stole diesel. I sort of did this with the money. I said, hey man, just do me a favor, don't use this for like whatever, drugs or alcohol. No, cool. And I gave him the money. To this day, this was I don't even think Kyle was born. I don't even think Kyle was born then. To this day, that haunts me. I mean, I'm getting chills right now thinking about how much of a piece of crap I must have been, because I did it with the best of intentions, but the thought of pulling that money back and then making a caveat onto something that I was going to give, presumably a homeless person, but what I do know for a fact was the guy was eating chicken that was in a dumpster that other people had already eaten on. But it was with the best of intentions. I'll tell you, I've obviously given a lot of other people a lot of other money since then, and I never put any contingencies on it, because I don't know what that guy's life is like. I can just assure you that was a hell of a lot worse than mine. And so if you're going to give something, give it freely, right? And like, this is the situation. Like, if somebody's ever in a bind at a truck stop or at a, wherever, right? Rest area, you name it. Like, just ask for people for help. Because you know what? That was one of the things that I was so proud about when I was a kid, looking up to my dad, who was a truck driver, and his buddies that would come over when they would go fish. Like, man, I just looked up to those guys because I would hear the stories that they would do to help people. And I realize that we're in a different day and a different time, but surely we can still have some resemblance of kind of being there for when people need us, especially even our peers in this industry, right? I don't know, man. This is sort of just my rant of saying I hate it when people do that, because I don't think you have, I guess my point is this. This is a long-winded way of saying this. I don't think you have to steal. I think all you need to do is like be sincere and ask for help. In some cases, man, just get the guy's name and number. That helps you. And if some point in time in the future you can pay him back, great. More often than not, I think people would probably just say, you know what? Don't worry about sending me the $100 or the $50 or the $20. Just help somebody else down the road when they need it. I think that's probably what most people would do. But just, I don't think you have to be a thief. I just don't. And I can assure you that if you were just willing, if this was a driver in our industry, like, you don't have to be stealing. Rates are good enough. All you got to freaking do, man, is just like keep the left door closed and run a little bit. I don't know. It just really bothered me to see that kind of stuff. And again, this could have been like somebody that lived close by. It might not have been a driver. I don't know. Attorney Yard, then there's the possible disruption of the customer supply chain. No, it's a big ripple effect, man. It really is. It really is. Benjamin Duke, is there any material thing worth someone's life? No, and I don't really hope that this guy dies a really slow, painful death. I really don't hope that. I do kind of hope maybe he gets, maybe like, there's a little pain involved somewhere, if you just want me to be honest, Benjamin Duke. But no, I probably don't wish that he dies a slow, painful death. Yeah, did I ever pay for the sandwich? I did pay for the sandwich. In fact, that kind of thing, man, for anybody that knows me, like I cannot stand owing people money. It's just, there's a thing. I don't want to owe anybody anything, because I feel like sometimes here's why I feel that. Sometimes I think people are like, hey, just get me like next week or something like that. But you know what? I think a lot of times people might really be in need of that money. They just don't want to say, right, I need it, or I can't go without it. And so I went right home and I came right back to Chick-fil-A. I walked inside and I spoke to the manager. I told the manager, thank you for doing that, and that sort of stuff. And so yeah. And let me give you one other example. And I'm going to tell you guys about how I was a complete piece of crap. This happened probably just a month or so ago. Some morning, I'm in a McDonald's drive-thru, and it's one of those drive-thrus that have two lanes, right? They merge into one. And you sort of just do the zipper thing, right? You alternate. And so there's a car in front of me as I've already ordered, I'm waiting. The car pulls up. It's next to go is my turn because they came from this lane. The guy behind them just pulls right up. I was on the conference call with Howard. And I told him, I was like, hang on a minute. So I get out, and I wasn't like really rude to the guy, but I was like, hey, like, and he sort of instantly, he got really mad. He throws it in reverse, and he backs up, and he's yelling at me. He was like, clearly your time is more important, right? And I was like, I don't really know what was that. Did I really need to say anything? No. Anyway, so I go up to the window, and I just told the lady, I was like, hey, I want to pay for this guy's meal. As it turns out, my food wasn't ready. Neither was his. So we both had to pull up like in the waiting area. So the guy gets out and comes walking up, and I'm like, great. We're probably going to have some exchange words. He came up and was like, hey, sorry, I was just being a jerk. And I was like, you know what? I was being a jerk. It really didn't warrant that, right? So he was pretty cool about it, and he ended up paying for the people's food behind him. So just maybe recognizing that we all make mistakes and that sort of stuff. But yeah. Hang on, I just got a message. I got to reply to this really quick. All right, so that's my 2 cents. Like, just try to help each other out, man, when we can. And I think if you're in a bad situation, you need help, whether it's diesel or whatever it is, ask. I do think people in our industry, while a lot of guys talk a lot of trash and try to be, maybe not come across as the nicest people at times, I do think deep down that a lot of people in our industry, I have high hopes that we are really good people and we are willing to try to help, right? That's my 2 cents. A couple questions and then we'll get out of here. Politicians steal from the working class every second of every day, IRS, taxation, yeah, but here's the thing, man. I think I don't think anybody disagrees with that. And just because just because that happens doesn't mean that you and I should do the same. It doesn't mean that we can't make things a little bit better, right? So, TJ, how are you, man? How many gallons did they get? We don't really know. The reefer was mostly full, but we really don't know how many gallons that they got out of the truck, honestly. Joey Eyeglasses, no honor among thieves anymore. TJ says he caught a guy in Council Bluffs, Iowa, stealing fuel. It was 0300. Joey Eyeglasses, hey man, $2 for a padlock. Thanks, man. MT Fuel Corp. Need to put it somewhere. Yeah, no doubt, right? Benjamin Duke, let's see. It was a team, driver and pump person. I mean, there's no telling, right? There's no telling how it went down or all that sort of stuff. Like I said, man, let's just try to help people. Josh, man, I'll buy a padlock with that too, right? Little dogs in here, blame Will. Hey, Will, were you in? You were close to Washington last night, right? Keith James said, "I've had him steal chains off my loads at night." Yeah, man, Zach, good for you, man. I suspect, here's what I suspect most people, I mean, we can get aggravated. Man, put me at the top of the list. Somebody that gets aggravated, quick-tempered, and all that sort of stuff at times. And but man, you know, when things kind of get real, boy, I try to help people out. I think most people are like that. You know, I really do. Good for you, Josh, helping out some homeless family the other day. Have I seen the homeless population in the park north downtown Albuquerque? It's insane. I have not seen that, no. I was really surprised. Where I lived in Colorado, we had very, very few panhandlers and those types of things. I mean, I understand the weather is a lot nicer here during the winter, but man, it's pretty intense. I don't know if I mentioned this the other day, but just as a quick thought on this topic, I went out the other day to get something out of my truck, and I was barefoot, and I took like 2 steps on the pavers on the driveway, and it was insanely hot. So I came in and I got the laser thermometer. I lasered my driveway. It was 155.3 degrees. Okay, and that was just on the pavers. I didn't laser the asphalt. I probably should have. And I don't recall how hot it was out that day. It was probably like 105 or 107 or something. It wasn't crazy, crazy hot. And then I thought about, wow, man, these people are standing on the asphalt, you know, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you know, trying to make, you know, a few bucks in donations. Arizona is a rough place to do that. Benjamin Duke says, yeah, no, nothing you know, but the few seconds you see, he may have got hit and died. Then you actually enable him to die on the last hit. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Big Z, I gave one of the lot beggars $5 and got a load 10 minutes later, made me $500 for 3 hours worth of work. How cool is that? It's, you know what, man, it's really cool to see things like that happen, like in return so quickly. You know, it really is. Johnny R, take care. Joe Harding says that was the owner of that mom and pop station who stole it. And you just drive down there and they sell it back to you. Got to make an honest living, huh? Benjamin Duke, when I was 12 years old, there was a man with a sign, money for food. I asked my grandfather, can I give him some money that you had earned? He said no. He stopped and gave him a meal and went back. I will tell you that I have had that happen to me once. I was at it was around the corner from a friend of mine's house, and they lived in downtown kind of ish Denver, and this guy holding food, right? You know, need food, hungry, starving, that kind of thing. I was like, cool. And so I think I went to like a Walgreens around the corner, and there was some fast food restaurant. I remember what it was. Grabbed a sack of food and I brought it back to the guy, and the guy didn't want the food. I mean, he was like, no, I'm good. Can I just get cash? And I was like, so, I mean, there's plenty of that stuff out there, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we all want to try to be a little bit better than a thief and just steal. Travis Clark, you're right, man. Never hurts to ask. John Shepard, hopefully it catches a. Yeah, no kidding, little dog, man. I bet his cost for fuel is like crazy low on this trip. I bet it is. I bet it is. Stop staying at truck stops. Well, this wasn't at a truck stop. This was at a rest area. It was, what did I say, mile marker 72, up in Washington. So, look, if somebody wants to steal something, this is a true story. I did have security system in my other house, but I never locked the door. I mean, I never locked the door. I'd go on vacation for 3 weeks, never lock a door. It's like, if somebody wants to break in, they're going to break in. There's no sense in breaking glass. Just open the door and come in like everybody else, right? However, having said that, step in the door when I'm here. A different result, I promise, but I don't know. Tom Roberts, my wife and I get $10 gift cards, McDonald's. Oh, good for you guys. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, just to kind of help out. And that way, because, yeah, that's not bad. I like that. Yeah, Zach, right. We do have cameras around the yard. Yeah, no, I understand what you meant, Tom. Instead of giving cash that maybe they do use for something that you would rather them not use your money for, right? Yeah, you want to help out? That's a good way to do it. Give a gift card. I never thought about that. It's a great idea. I'll start doing that myself. Hey, that's it. I don't want this video to be terribly long. I just want to say, man, if you are in a bad situation, you don't really have to resort to stealing from other people. I think people, by and large, are good people. If you really need help, I think people will help. I really do. I'm not even gonna give any last words to whoever the person was that stole it. We'll just say wish them the best. How about that? All right, hey man, if you guys are making miles, stay safe. Consider buying gift cards to fast food places instead of giving cash. Consider having locks on your fuel tanks, apparently. Moral of this story. You guys take care. See ya.